Okay, let's go ahead and begin. For those who haven't met me, I'm Ross Worth. I will be going through a planned tour of the Change Management Network, but I would also like to have you jump in with any questions. So if anything comes up where you've got a question on something I'm talking about, or you don't understand anything, go ahead and unmute your microphone and jump in with the question. We can do a small detour for that. Again, this is the Change Management Network homepage, which is hosted on the Mighty Networks platform. It is a highly customizable platform, and a lot of what you see here has been modified over the last 2 years that we've been in existence. This is the home page here, which is really the activity feed. And that what you see here is somewhat driven by what your interests are, as well as your activity, so that it is a very customized with your settings, but it's also driven by what others are doing. And it's a good way to go ahead and scroll down just to see what's happening, elsewhere in the network where people are posting. And again, it is an activity driven with the most recent activity at the top going down. Okay. The discovery is an area that I really haven't used too much, but it is somewhat kind of interesting if you want to just jump around to see things that you might not have ever known before. In that it goes through some listings of areas that you might not have seen. For example, top post, the members near you, some topic information, and you notice here that your topics you can follow. And this is something we're going to get into a little bit later, and that if there's something that you don't want to see, you can easily unfollow it or hide it so that it doesn't come up and activity in those areas don't come up. Top member activity through here. There's also featured. You would have seen the featured at the top of your homepage activity also. These are really pinned posts, things that are really very static for navigational purposes. So for example, the Wonder Room we use for impromptu meetings, the ambassador level. The ambassadors are where you invite new members into the network. And as you invite more members in, you progress from bronze, silver to gold membership. And at each level, a few more of the premium areas open up for your access. These last two over here, the tracks and the high-level navigation, were put together about a year ago just because we started growing and people were getting somewhat lost because there is so much here. Also for the discovery is upcoming events. So that you can kind of get an overview of what's coming up, and you can see that we're live right now with this event. Also the top subgroups where the most activity have been in the more recent areas, and top learning resources, again, where the most recent activity has been. So discovery is kind of an interesting area to just kind of poke around, but truthfully, I don't spend a lot of time there as a rule. Let me jump over to where I spend more of my time, and that's the topic area. The learning pathways are where the different pinned posts are normally stored, and they're designed to be static. The featured topic and the change challenge are where most discussion groups would really be found. The change challenge is where you have a question you want to post, or you've got an interesting topic. This is probably what would be the default for a LinkedIn discussion group. Featured topic allows us to go a little bit deeper in that we want to focus on just one topic and really explore that topic in much more depth than you would normally do, because normally in a post it's somewhat cumbersome as the discussion gets long to figure out where you're at, particularly if the discussion bifurcates. The feature topic allows those bifurcations of topics to really be started as separate parallel discussions. The change challenge then is kind of the default. So if you want to post a question that doesn't fit anywhere else, feel free to post there. But there's also two other areas below that, the novice areas and the intermediate discussions. Novice questions are really an open area to really invite the people who are new to organizational change to ask questions that they feel may be dumb, because no question is really dumb. And we want to have an open space here. So again, this is purposely designed to ask any question whatsoever, particularly if you're a novice. The intermediate level questions goes up a little bit higher than that if you want to talk about something in more detail in your practice or what you're doing if you're an educator. And it's somewhat below what might be in the advanced topic area, which is really a separate subgroup itself. Video library and recommended reading. Video library is where we've been posting videos from our webinars. Also, if you find a very interesting video on organizational change, please post it here so that it just becomes kind of a repository of interesting things on organizational change. The recommended reading area is really what too often happens to LinkedIn groups, where people are writing a blog and then want to promote it. That really crowds out discussions in LinkedIn. By having multiple topics here on the Mighty Networks platform, we're able to focus discussion in the earlier topics above, but still allow people to post links to their blogs or to some other article that they find interesting. Again, recommended reading. The member profiles is kind of a catch-all for people introducing themselves. Again, this is something that often clutters up active LinkedIn groups. Here we're able to segregate it and keep it into more of a welcome area. Similarly, the meeting announcements and student research, in many places on LinkedIn, they ban them or they get mixed in with everything else. This topic allows some segregation of this. Similarly, many people who are new to organizational change or maybe mid-career or are interested in certification, this is a specific topic that allows them to go into deeper discussions on these more career-oriented areas. And the last two here are really what would be considered spam in many LinkedIn groups, where you're able to promote your service, but also search, and at the same time, post job openings. One of the advantages in having a separate topic for it is that we can segregate it. And let me go down to the marketplace then. The marketplace then will show activities, but let me show you at this point here. These are the people who are actually following activity here. If you want to post something, obviously right here, but notice right on the right-hand side, this is how to change the view. What you have here is my default view, which is the list view. It lists the post in a sequence, each one having an image, if there is one, along with the title. But over on the side here, you could switch to feed view. The feed view actually gives you a view of actually the text itself that you can scroll down and look at. Okay, let me then go back and I want to show you something here on the marketplace. Okay, this is following. You can basically unclick here. So you see that as I put the mouse over the following, just to the right and below my mouse, there is an unfollow. So if you do not want to follow the marketplace, all you need to do is click that and you will not see this at all. It just goes away. Same if you don't want to follow job openings or career pathways. This is a customization that is your specific personalization, and that you can then basically not even see it. It's a total hidden, and it will not appear in your activity feed and your home page. This is a very powerful way, but it allows us then to segregate different types of conversations, many of which that might be considered spam on a LinkedIn group, but we allow that capability here, but also give people the ability to not see it. Let me jump then to subgroups. Subgroups are somewhat similar to actually the top level, in that the subgroup itself also has topics. So for example, this is the subgroup for photocracy discussions that Reg and I are running. And on the left-hand side, you've got the activity, same as the top, discovery, members. You also have topics, so that within the subgroup, we have a whole series of topics that operates just like the topics at the top side, such that you can then narrow down into that subgroup and have basically a mix of static topic areas, but dynamic discussions within those topics. On the upper left-hand corner then takes you back to the network. That means you're going back to the top side from the subgroup. You're back at the subgroup level, and these then are the different subgroups. The future of the change profession is a new subgroup that we are starting now. And again, this gets back to a lot of what we try to do with Change Management Network, and we test things. This is where a particular member has a passion for something, wanted to see if there's interest in that. So we spun up a subgroup for it. She's able to invite people in, set up multiple topics, and treat it basically as if it were a separate discussion group on LinkedIn, or even a separate discussion group here on the Change Management Network, which is somewhat isolated. But again, it's a test area. Practical psychology for change is another member-initiated activity that is being tested out for seed amount of interest in the topic. This also gets back to what you see today may not necessarily be what you see in the future. For example, if you're watching this as a video, the examples here may likely change. At least once a year, we step back and find somewhat of an analysis of what's working, what's not working, and we change things around. We're constantly trying to figure out how best to help people learn about organizational change and the evolving nature of it, trying different things, expanding what works, what doesn't work. The naming, the topics are very much in flux as we go around. The boot camp. The boot camp actually started as an e-book that I've decided to abandon and move into a separate area. And this is another way of using the Mighty Networks platform, in that instead of having dynamic discussions, what we have are a basic list of static documents, so that the information that a change novice needs to learn, a lot of that is here. So for example, an introduction to organizational change, change models and frameworks, how to gain approval, involving others, diagnosis. These are all different topical areas, and within each of them, there'll be a series then of different discussions. This one came up as a default to the the view. So I'm going to switch it back to the list view. And again, it's whatever you used last will appear here. You can also then show everything, or you can show only your activity. So this is only my activity, and this is sorted then by the last activity, but then I can also show by the date created. So I could actually, if I remember, I wrote something and I wanted to see where it is, I could then narrow on how I find it. But these are basically somewhat static, but at the same time, people can get into a question and answer on each of these individual posts themselves. Moving back then to the network, I'm still at the top side now, but looking at subgroups. Again, new change models, that started out as a featured topic. We moved it here. You can see that it was last active 19 hours ago, so people are still looking at it. You're also able to see that out of the total membership, the subset of members who are interested in it are also listed here. So for example, out of all the members that are within the Change Management Network, 126 have an interest in the change models, new change models. Organization and culture, organization design, organizational agility. Again, these are all different topics that have somewhat of a more permanent home, and that there may be a need to go deeper into those, or people may have an interest. So we kind of set it off as a subgroup, moved off to the side. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to remain that way. So for example, evidence-based change in metrics, I find interesting. But again, it doesn't get a lot of activity. But if someone does want to get into that as a topic, it's here. Advanced topic is kind of a catch-all in that it's somewhat somewhere between a subgroup and a regular topic area, in that we're able to isolate things. So for example, in the topic areas, we talk about complexity science and change, or behavioral economics. A member recently has some interest in that, and we already had a subtopic for it. So we're doing that activity and focus within the topic here in the advanced topic subgroup. Neuroscience and change. New frontiers is kind of a catch-all in that if it doesn't have another subgroup or a topic above, it can be thrown into here. And again, we try to do that in that there's always a general someplace, so that you don't have to necessarily make up or force fit something where it doesn't go. Recommend reading then, again, you're going to see this in many places, things that you find interesting that you think that other people may also find interesting. And again, same as the other subgroups and the topic, the navigation on the left-hand side is also very, very similar. Jumping back to the topic at the top again, let me go down to learning resources. Learning resources is really an area for courses, in that when you talk about the dynamic or static nature of content, within topics at the very top side, the topic list is static, but the activity there is very dynamic, in that every time a new topic or a new post starts a discussion, it basically goes to the top of the list. And if there's no activity, it keeps moving down the list. The subgroups are somewhat similar, but you got a little bit more static organization, in that the subgroup name and the topics within the subgroup are static. But again, the discussions within those topics will become aged out as they get older without activity. The learning resources are very different, in that it is static data that is designed to be static, such as a course itself. And you'll also see here that some of these are, quote, secret. this gets into different classifications in that it's no longer public or premium, which is public but has premium access, but it is material that Reg and I are actually working on, and we are basically doing it behind the scenes in secret, and at some point we will make it public once it gets a little bit further along. Let me jump here on the change resistance. You're going to see this is basically a course itself, in that there's individual lectures, lecture documents, any number of things that looks exactly like you would expect an online course to look like. So that the Futocracy ebook is going to be somewhat similar in that we have a list of chapters and sections that are going to be in the ebook itself. And the content is very static, and we're able to control the questions and answers or the discussion, such that each of these individual modules will stand alone as a video or in this case text, but instead of having the discussion at each individual level, we have a chapter level discussion. This is part of the customization that's allowed in the courses. Also, because of the static nature, we actually run the webinars in this area, also in the conference. And that is actually a course structure that we're able to move things around. So for example, these are the upcoming webinars here, similar to the way we did the 3 days on the recent conference, and that you've got the activity here using the universal time. Again, because we're global, we try to keep things on a single time, but then when you actually click to register, it goes over to the event area, and the event area will have your local time. Okay, so that when we try to schedule things, particularly when you're scheduling a lot of activity in a concentrated period of 3 days, the universal time gives us a single global clock to schedule, so we don't overlay presentations on another one. But at the same time, the events are all in your local time. Let me go back to learning resources, to the webinars. Okay, the presenter information, again, it's very static, but we allow some information for Q&A here, as well as different areas. The day 1, day 2, day 3, actually I rolled the clock forward for next year, but I dumped it down in the list at the bottom, so that come end of December, beginning of January, when the webinars are no longer going to be active, I will move this area down, the presenter information down, and the 3 days up above, so that it becomes much more specific. So again, this is a somewhat static area in that the content doesn't dynamically change, other than the editing of the content within each individual part of it. So it's very different from a discussion, but it allows you to do different things. Also, we have the events here. Again, the events then are all the upcoming events, and they are automatically adjusted to your local time. If you want to take a look at past events, this is very useful if you want to take a look at what happened in the conference. All you need to do is click on the past, and here's all the past events that were at the conference, even some of those that were prior to the conference last year. Okay. Let me jump around. Let me go down to members. Okay, the members then is a list of members, and you can actually then click to see each individual profile. So this is over to Reg's profile here. By clicking hello, you go into a chat area with Reg. You can follow people so that anytime that you, anytime that they post something, you will get a notification that they're doing something. It shows that Reg is a host and that he is a gold member, ambassador. Reg is responsible for inviting 47 members into our network. Shows the number of posts he's done, when he was last active, where he lives, his role. These are all things that are in the profile, but you can also see his last activity. So you can actually see what Reg has been doing recently, who he's replying to, things like that. So it's a way to find out a little bit more about somebody. Also, then you could find here near you, newer members, who the ambassadors are, and actually who's even online right now. Let me see. Let me jump up to this area up in here. Okay. This is the chat area here. You can chat with individuals. So a lot of times if I'm trying to coordinate an activity with somebody, I will coordinate it with the different persons here so that I'm able to actually do an online activity to keep things moving forward. But you can chat with anyone else. It's basically just between you and them. You're the only ones that will see it, so that if you want to ask somebody a question without making your reply public, you can put it into a chat window that they will only see. The notifications here is pretty powerful in that this is showing that I have 6 notifications that came in that I have not yet looked at. The notifications here are activities such that, for example, the event's about to start. I've got 3 new members that came in overnight that I haven't welcomed yet. One ambassador invited a new member overnight. Reg, Patrick, they are replying to conversations that I am following. So a lot of times, instead of having to hunt around where the activity is at, I'm able to go up and see the activity up here. And this little right here is a mark all read. So that when I am done reviewing for the day, I may not want to read Reg's post, or I may not want to read Patrick's post. Or it's kind of interesting that an ambassador has a new member coming in, but that's okay. I just go ahead and clear it so that I'm able to then keep track of what I am seeing. Let's then go up to the profile, which is very powerful. Okay. In viewing your profile, you got a number of settings. You can control your background image, your picture here, some text about you. You're actually able to see your activity, your location, and you can then edit. All of this is editable here, and your role. These roles then allow you to basically self-select who you're, why you are coming to this area. So for example, I'm a consultant and I'm also an educator, but I'm in an org change focus in both. I am following 2, but 212 people are following me. Okay. Now down here then are also personal links. This is my Facebook profile, my LinkedIn profile, and my personal company's website, so that if anyone wants to link with me on LinkedIn, all they need to do is click right here and takes them right to my LinkedIn profile. A little bit of introduction about me, but then down here is really critical information. This is all of the different learning resources that I am subscribed to, and this will be obviously different than what you're subscribed to, such that you're able to see all the things that you are connected to. And it's this list here that drives the activity feed on your homepage. Learning resources, subgroups, and topics is all the activity that is customized for you of what you want to see. If you're not looking at it, it won't be on this list. And then also the events. These are events that I have subscribed to or registered for that are coming up for me. Okay. So these are all edited, but let me go ahead and see here. Okay, count notification. Okay, let me go to notification settings. Okay, I'll briefly say you can save a draft. This is something that you're drafting for posting, but not yet posted. You can have some saved such that you think it's something interesting you want to go back and read later. You can click it and save it and find it here. But notification settings are really powerful in that it tells the system how you want to be notified and what you want to be notified about. So for example, I have my email notifications turned off. I want to get the mobile push, on the notifications types. Okay. If somebody does a cheer on my post, I do not get a notification. It's too much. I post too much stuff. I get too many cheers and it basically clutters. So I turn that one off to reduce clutter. However, if someone comments on any of my stuff, I want to see it and I get a notification. And anyone else comments after that, I want to see it. Okay. If someone were to mention me, I definitely want to see that because that means that they want to draw my attention, and the at mention, so it'd be at Ross Worth. That will directly get me a notification that I've been flagged in a post and I need to look at it. Since I'm one of many posts, if another host posts something that I want to see it. So I click that as on. Event minders and updates. I find that very beneficial. Also, there are the ability to do polls. And if the poll is posted, I want to be able to see activity on the poll and the results. So I've turned that on. The questions that you can answer, this is where they're using some artificial intelligence in the background, identifying questions and also identifying your activity in the past to see the similarity. And if there is a question that you would not otherwise see in your feed, this would basically be pushed in your direction. Activities relevant to you. I've got that off again. That's just because I'm getting too much other activities. I need to follow it. And if activities from someone that I follow, actually, I've got that off because I'm basically following everybody, keeping track. I could also turn off chat messages. I want to see ambassador notifications, the new course material. That is anytime a new activity goes in the learning resources, I will get a notification about it. So if Reg posts anything, I'll be able to see that. This is a pretty powerful one here that you may want to turn off. I try to keep track of what's happening across the network. So I go ahead and click that, show me posts from every member. That will be in my activity feed. So my activity feed will be up to about 100 per day is what that will normally be. Again, if it gets too much, turn it off. Okay. And same with the hosts and moderators. These are specific things that are unique to those roles. Then down in the subgroups and courses, you can actually turn things on and off, such that if you don't want to see advanced topics or change agility, all you need to do is just turn them off. I've got them on because I try to keep track of everything. But again, it's a way to control how much or how little you see, just to cut the clutter down. There's also some other things here on sounds, that you can have different sounds, notifications, chat system. I've never really changed any of those. I use the defaults there. The invite. Invite is a couple spots where you can invite other people into the network just by adding their email address here. It has a standard default text, but you can go ahead and modify this text totally. And these are Okay, when I invite somebody in, I invite them as a member, but I could also invite them as a moderator or a host. Let me see, there was something I was overlooking. Oh, yes, I know. I didn't scroll down far enough on the, okay. On the subgroups, I've also got 3 subgroups at the end here for job specific. So for example, if you're an HR person, there's a subgroup just for that. So if you want to talk with other OD or HR generalist or HR managers, those are specific areas for discussions that are available. Same if you're a project manager. You can basically subscribe to this area and talk to other project managers, or if you're a consultant. So the HR generalists, the project managers, the consultants are the 3 main roles that people can join to take a look at more specific types of discussions unique to them. Okay, let me see. Any questions at this point before I do a little bit of a shift? Just turn your microphone on, ask any questions. Okay. Let me go ahead and talk a little bit more about
Ross, I think I'm gonna ask you a stupid question.
Hey,
Actually, it's a
nope,
more of a beginner
fine.
on this system. In looking at the choices of topics, as an example,
Okay.
in putting together some ideas that I'm seeking feedback from
Okay.
at the more of the experienced change, organizational change people.
Okay.
Where would I insert it to have that feedback, or to gauge the level of interest in it?
Offhand, I'd say the intermediate level, because you said that you excluded the novice area.
Yes,
You said that people have some experience already, but it's not an advanced. Again, advanced is kind of like a graduate, master's, or doctorate level discussions, and those are very
right.
narrow. So it's probably not to that level. So I'd go ahead and just post it in the intermediate level discussion. Also,
Okay.
the intermediate level discussion, all the topics are free, so you're not going to be eliminating anybody. Also, because it's not a subgroup, it will appear on everybody's activity feed and not just members of the subgroup's activity.
Well, thank you very much. That really helps.
Okay. Let me go ahead and then, I guess while we're talking about intermediate discussion, let me jump there. Okay. And in the posting, okay, there's 2 posting methods here. The default post is what's called a quick post, in which case all you do is you just type in, and you can then attach one of 5 things. You can attach an image, a link to a video, an embedded link to another website, an attached file, or you can start a poll. Okay, and you can only do one of those. And it's designed to do it as a very quick type of post, just to get it out there. Okay, but if you want to go more elaborate, there's actually something called expand to an article. And expand to an article gives you full editing such that you can title there, and then underneath that, you can then add, again, any of these things. that you saw before, the video, the image, the attachment, a link. You can also add a series of bullet points. And you can then add something else, such that you want to add a video. This is an image, I'm sorry, an image. Okay. Such that you can add multiple things and you're not limited to just one. So it becomes a very, very powerful, truly an article where you got multiple links, multiple bullet points, multiple paragraphs, any number of things that you can then go ahead and post. Let me go ahead and cancel out of that. Okay, but again, that's very powerful. And when you do it, it gives you where you're posting. Again, the Change Management Network, you're posting at the top side. It's also picking up that it's posting within the intermediate level discussions, such that if you were to go to the home page, and sometimes I've seen a few people do this, they post here. By default, you're again at the very top, but because you're at the top, you can actually, from the top, post elsewhere into a subgroup or a course or anything else that you have a capability for. So for example, in the courses, only hosts have the ability to post there. Okay. But again, it gives you an ability to post across the network. You can also then add a topic. Okay. And sometimes what happens is if I find something in the activity feed at the top side, they may have posted without a topic. Now, there's a use for that too. If you want to post a comment or something that has a limited life to it, you can easily post at the top of the network without a topic. It will appear in the activity feed, and it will stay in that activity feed as long as there is replies and other activity on it. But as soon as it ages out, it will totally disappear because it won't be findable other than with a search, because it's no longer really any place. It's just kind of, at the top side. It's not in a subgroup. It's not in a topic area. So sometimes if I want to post something that I want people to see, I want people to interact with, but I don't want it to really be categorized for later retrieval, I'll post it without a topic. Then the post basically goes out. Let me see, let me do a test. Okay, the post then would actually post it out to, in this case, no place, but it would actually give me a pick a topic or post without topic. So it's really telling me, say, sure, you know what you're doing. You're posting without a topic here. Also, if you are a host or a moderator, we can schedule. Okay, and because of the power of the notification within the Mighty Networks platform, there is a danger of spamming membership if all the hosts are posting things with notification. So what we end up doing then is we will then schedule. Yep, let me try this again. We will schedule things in the future. Okay, so this test post here is being scheduled for the future, and I'm going to say schedule, and I'm going to post it without a topic. Okay, and at this point I can say notify or don't notify. If I notify, then when it goes live, everybody who is subscribed to that topic or subgroup will receive an email notification. Because of this power, what we end up doing, says this will go live on May 17th, all the hosts will actually take a look at the scheduled post. So these are the scheduled posts that are coming up. So I've got one post scheduled for March 15th. This is the post I just created, and I've got another test post in December. such that if I'm going to post something that I want to push an email notification to, I will then check the scheduled queue here to make sure nobody else has scheduled something that day, just because we don't want to have any more than one a day. One a day is our max itself. Also, then I could go ahead and right here, I can just delete my test. Okay. Other questions?
Thank you, Ross. You're really making sense now. Thank you.
And again, it's broad, and we often don't get things right the first time, and that things are moving around. So, for example, the content that was in the change management boot camp, up until January, it was in a course. And basically, I just moved things around such that it went out of a premium area into a free area, such that people can still take advantage of it, but I'm really not paying attention to it anymore. Let me show you something else. You may be curious on the management side. Okay, these are the analytics. Okay, such that on the right-hand side here is a heat map of the number of members who are online within that 1 hour block period. So, for example, in this area blue here, we're talking between 300 and 400 people that are online at least sometime during that 1 hour. And this is for the last 30 days. So this goes beyond the conference. This is post-conference activity. So you can see that Monday has very little activity. Saturday and Sunday has even less. We kind of peak activity on Tuesday. And again, these are hours on mine. So for example, at this particular time, we averaged 350 members online in that 1 hour on an average for Tuesday. On Sunday, okay, we still averaged, and this is 2 a.m. my time, but we still averaged 103 members online just because of the global presence that we have. We currently have 3,667 members, and of those, 339 were referred by other members. Okay, shows the number of activities in total members when they joined, and also how quickly the membership has grown. Again, December grew because of the conference coming up. It grew even more in January, and we are now back to a more normal growth pattern without the conference as a promotion. Last 30 days, number of active members. Active members is down for this 30 days because it's down from the conference, which you would expect. Okay, and again, new member rate. This is the returning members, in which case this is 82% of our members have been active 2 months in a row. And the excellent rating is based relative to other mighty networks. Number of active members, contributing members, member retention rate. Then you also get into top members, the number of activities that they've had for engagement with others, but then also top activities for posts, which are the most active posts, and what are they? And then, again, these are all 30-day activities. You can then go drill down into more looking into the different types of posts: quick posts, polls, articles, member activity. So number of member activities, again, daily, weekly. Let me shift over to monthly. Number of active members, and again, this is over different time periods. Then also how often people visit. number of new followers, engagement, number of posts they've done, messages that were sent. Okay. Premium features. These are all different things. I mean, this is really customizable. And then I've got the ambassador program set up. I've got ambassador things that are set up for rewards. Let me jump. May see for, let me see. Okay, these are different plans. Because of the number of things that are premium here, this is a number of things that are working behind the scenes as to whether it's visible or not. Whether it's free or not will be within each of these. Then is also what's called hidden. So for example, some of the hidden things would be, for example, the bronze reward. Okay, if you get to a bronze level, certain things open up. It's a bundle that opens up, and these are the things that open up for you. If you're at the silver reward level, more things open up. And let me say a little bit about the premium items. Okay, some of these items, for example, change in culture, organizational design, change agility. There is a small cost per month of a couple dollars, and it's more designed to be an inconvenience than a true money source to support the network. And again, the network is being subsidized by a few hosts at this time. At some point, we'd like it to be able to be self-sufficient, so it goes beyond just us. But again, the premium items, for example, if you wanted to join the organizations and culture, you can pay a couple dollars a month for a month and then cancel out of it. Some members choose to leave it as part of subsidizing the cost of the platform, or again, as it's designed to be an inconvenience, that all you need to do is invite a couple members in, become a bronze member, and once you're a bronze member, it becomes free to you. And truthfully, I'd probably rather have people invite new members in than the small amount of money that it comes in for the revenue. But again, in most cases, premium is designed to be basically a bonus for people who are more active and inviting membership growth.
Ross, what is the fee for joining those discussions?
Let me take a look. Offhand, I can't remember. I have to look. Let's see. Okay, let me go to the organizational design. Organizational design is basically $1.98 per month.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's designed to be an inconvenience.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's not even that. It's 99 cents a month.
Okay.
But I've got two people paying it every month, so I've got an income of $1.98 a month. Okay, but again, the whole idea here is I want to make it as something extra to reward people who invite members in because they're helping to grow the network.
Okay.
So I put a small amount in here, more as an inconvenience to try to push people into inviting members.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. But again, for those who want to be much more active, the host hideout is a buy-in. That's $110 a year. Okay, so some people who want to, and I've got one doing that right now, they take much more of an ownership in the network. They have more of a say in the network. They're paying $110 each year as part of the basically helping to subsidize. But again, by buying in at that level, they end up getting much more say in how the management of the networks run also.
All right. Is that connected to the Wander Room? You have to be a host to access
No,
The Wonder Room.
no, the Wonder Room is open to everybody. Uh, and basically, all you need to do is click on the link to it, and it's live immediately at that point. The whole idea here is during the conference, we use it regularly, but we can use it right now. So for example, if you're in a reply or if you're in a chat and you want to go from a synchronous chat or a synchronous reply series into a video chat area, instead of setting up a WebEx or a Zoom meeting, all you need to do is click on the Wonder Room, and bang, you're there. So it's basically an always on, ready to use uh, video chat platform.
Thank you. Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
powerful. Yep.
yeah, I've used it from time to time with Reg, and that we're chatting on the chat here, and so let's talk about something, and we'll jump into the Wonder Room, and you could actually share an application in the Wonder Room also, so that we could actually then share a document, edit it, right there. Uh, so it's basically a really quick way to get into a video chat just by clicking.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But again, it's free, and at some point they're going to charge for it, in which case we'll have to make a decision on whether we keep it or not. Um, let's see. Groups, roles. Okay, roles. Okay, roles are uh, roles pick up part of your profile. So if you're a consultant educator, or change culture, or change focus, which is what I am, I'm categorized in that, and I can then click it, and I can see who else is actually in this area and what people are actually posting within that area. So you can see, what people are doing, but more importantly, you can actually take a look to see the names of who's there. Let's see. Okay, other questions. Again, you can take a look at the number of people that are online right now. Let me take a look. See. Posts. Okay, there's also an app. I've used it on the iPhone from time to time. It works very similarly as this. Most of the activity is exactly the same. And how it all works. Let's see. I noticed that. Oh, someone said, is there a text limit on the quick post? No. Unlike LinkedIn, there is no text limit at all on the quick post, and definitely no limit on the article. And actually, we get some pretty long articles and pretty long posts, even pretty long replies. And that's one of the reasons why we actually started this as from a base originally that was on LinkedIn, just due to the frustrations, and that LinkedIn was increasingly moving to short activity, short engagements, and it's difficult to really deal with a deep subject in short bites.
This is really smart design, Ross. Thank you.
Okay.
This has really been helpful
Um,
to me personally.
okay.
Sorry.
Okay. A question came up. Can members also offer paid courses? We've talked about it. We haven't had any do it yet, but I would say yes. And the way we've done it in our discussions at this point is, if you are a paid host member, You've obviously bought some rights to the network financially through your subsidizing the cost. Therefore, you should have a right to benefit from that with a revenue source. So I would say yes there. Also, if it's a course that is directly tied to organizational change, I would say there's benefit to the membership and therefore a benefit of having it available to the members, but I would probably do a standard 50-50 revenue split such that the network receives 50% of the revenue to support the platform itself, and the author of the course goes ahead and gets it. So the answer is yes. That would either be a host buy-in or a 50-50 revenue split. Again, our long-term
Thank
our long-term approach is we're trying to figure out a way to have the platform be self-sustaining with some governance model. Don't know exactly how that's going to operate yet, because you've got the self-sustaining financially as one point. The other point is the governance of it beyond just my life or the people that are involved with it at this point at the host level. Other questions? How do conferences work? They basically self-organize with me and a few other people reviewing the agenda, putting it together, approving it. We require that it has a direct link to change management. Actually, I should say direct link to organizational change, which is a broader term than change management. We also require that it not just be a marketing or a repeat of what everybody knows. We try to keep the focus on the webinars and the conference, looking forward to how the theory and practice of organizational change is evolving, and focus it as a learning activity. Room for sponsors, I don't know. We thought of that. It's come up before. I'm not sure how to do it. We may take a look at it next year. The issue of the funding is obviously easy, because all I would have to do is create a subgroup for funders and a buy-in price there. That'd be the easy part, unless they're buying an ad space. I don't know. I'd have to think about how to do it. But again, our whole approach is to keep it as easy as possible and as broad participation as necessary, such that my time commitment to it doesn't become too excessive. And again, we try to basically enable it without putting the management on me per se. Very good. Let me sign off then, and I wish you all a good day.